Welcome everyone to my review of IDW Sonic issue 70. I'll be placing my spoiler warnings here, not just for the issue, but for solicitations that came out since the previous one. You'll see why soon. Alright, let's recap what's happening so far in this arc. Clean Sweep Inc. and the Restoration have teamed up to run the Extreme Gear charity event Clean Sweepstakes. During the qualifying race, Team Sonic's gear malfunctioned thanks to sabotage. Clutch had them rigged so that the trio would be out and wouldn't snoop into his operations. Only this caused Team Sonic to question what's going on with Clean Sweep Inc. and were planning an investigation anyway. They got some unexpected help from Dr. Eggman, who created the extreme gear for Sonic to use as a distraction. That way, Tails and Amy could quietly investigate with little trouble. The Doctor also wanted some payback since Clean Sweep Inc. bruised his ego. At this point, with little to no options, Team Sonic agreed to Eggman's proposal. Clean Sweepstakes Central City event is about to begin. The goal for this course is to survive a course filled with dangerous traps such as spikes, spike bombs, and buzzsaws, courtesy of Clean Sweep Inc.'s recycling efforts. I'm all for recycling, but not like this. On a nearby building, Sonic prepares to utilize the Extreme Gear, which includes a wrist device complete with a big red button. As the race begins, Sonic presses said button, hops on the gear, and heads on down. The Babylon Rogues naturally take the lead. Jet was hoping for more of a challenge, and he gets his wish when a new player enters the scene, the Phantom Rider. Grabbing a nearby Omochan with a camera, he makes his intentions to add a little chaos to the race known to the audience, and that nothing can stop him. Jet takes this as a challenge and pursues. Just as Eggman advertised, the Extreme Gear is very fast, though it does cause some of the other participants to fall off their boards, and there's nothing Sonic can do about it without blowing his cover. Luckily, the Restoration referee team, aka the New Diamond Cutters, came to the rescue. Lanolin figures the Phantom Rider's too much for them to handle, so she calls in some Clean Sweep Inc. security as backup. Goes to show how much more the Restoration's going corporate. Jet follows the Phantom Rider through some glass tubes. As Jet gets close, the Phantom Rider releases a smoke screen, allowing him to escape from a nearby hatch, only for him to get cornered by security. Lanolin uses her Wispin to subdue the Phantom Rider, however, she used too much force and wasn't paying attention to her surroundings because she unintentionally cracks the tubes. And once weight is put on it, the entire structure collapses with riders inside. Security scrambles to save the contestants. Even the Phantom Rider helps someone out, he's still Sonic underneath the mask, before using this chance to escape. But then he runs into Surge, literally. She wants in on some of this action, which is bad for Sonic because her electricity can disrupt the Phantom Rider disguise. Thankfully, Sonic bails before being fully unmasked, summons his gear, and gets away. Surge wants to pursue him, but Kit reminds her that Clutch ordered them to stay in the race. Even with the Phantom Rider disrupting things, the Babylon Rogues still claim the top 3 spots. Jet's a bit ho-hum about this victory, but he doesn't mind as long as there are crowds of fans cheering for him. Unfortunately for Jet, the crowd is not going crazy for him, but for Surge and Kit, much to their surprise. There was coverage of them driving off the Phantom Rider, and they're praised as heroes. Jet's not happy about this. Later that evening, Clutch and Mimic discuss what to do about the Phantom Rider. While Clutch welcomes this brief distraction, as it did well for viewership, he doesn't want to take any chances and orders Mimic to take care of the Rider quietly. They also discuss how to handle Jewel for the immediate future because prior to this meeting, Jewel had met with the disguised Mimic. She still wants to know where Team Sonic is, and Mimic/Duo says he's asked around and even called Amy's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. He suggests they've moved on to something else. Jewel agrees and Mimic takes his leave. Once he's gone, we see that Jewel's starting to get a little bit frustrated. We know what Sonic's been up to, so what about Tails and Amy? Remember when Lanolin called for reinforcements? The two used the opportunity to sneak aboard the Restoration Shuttle. Once they make sure they are not caught by the guards, Tails and Amy make their way to the machine shop. Tails has Amy keeping watch while he does a bit of dumpster diving because if someone were to do some sinister stuff, there's a good chance they've thrown some evidence in the trash. Amy hears some strange noises near a pile of extreme gear, and as she investigates, she spots a hand moving towards her. It latches onto her face, and Amy begs for Tails to help her destroy it, but Tails tells her to hold off. That hand actually belongs to Belle the Tinkerer, and it points Tails and Amy towards the direction of its owner. This leads them to the locker area, and they open the one making noise to find poor Belle bound and gagged. I'm not 100% sure, but something tells me that Evan Stanley's a fan of Kamen Rider. For those who don't know, Kamen Rider is a Japanese tokusatsu series that features someone transforming into the titular character to battle villainous organizations. Apparently, from what I've looked up, Kamen Rider tends to use technology taken from the villains. So let's apply this here. Sonic is using technology from a villain, in this case Eggman, for a greater cause. Now Sonic, as well as Tails and Amy, don't know this yet, but they are going up against Clean Sweep Inc. run by the villainous Clutch the Possum. While Kamen Riders share a grasshopper-shaped helmet and utilize motorcycles, that's why they're called riders, the Phantom Rider utilizes extreme gear, and the helmet, well, it looks more like something from another tokusatsu series, Super Sentai. I mean, why not? Both series utilize devices that allow the heroes to transform into their costumes. And we have a transformation sequence here. As mentioned last time, Eggman included hard-light camouflage technology with the Extreme gear. I didn't realize it was the costume. In hindsight, I should have known. I do like how it keeps some Eggman aesthetics with the white stripes. Also, the digital scarf looks kinda nice. And it's interesting that it's not perfect, as Surge's electricity briefly disrupts the hard light. Then again, Eggman never took into account Surge and Kit's participation, nor did he even have a chance to study them like he wanted to. Despite this potential problem, Sonic did fairly well in playing a rogue rider, pulling some Sonic Adventure 2 Omo child abuse,
Stop it! Let me go!
disrupting the race, and most importantly, trolling Jet. But again, he's still Sonic underneath it all, and it was hard for him to not help people in trouble without blowing his cover. Though he did save someone when the glass tubes shattered. Let's just hope no one catches him using the Eggman tech. It might make him look bad. The bulk of the issues focus not just on the Phantom Rider and the investigation, but how it impacted those involved in the sweepstakes. First we have Clutch, who was amused by the Phantom Rider at first, but then wants Mimic to deal with him because he does not want this incident to ruin his plans. This is his biggest gambit we're seeing right now, and as I said last time, he believes he's in control of the situation. He doesn't want this X Factor ruining things at a key moment. Speaking of X Factors, there's Surge dealing with the Phantom Rider and being hailed as heroes along with Kit, and loving it. Which is funny considering the reason Surge and Kit were made in the first place was because Starline wanted to control the hero-villain dynamic. You know, replacing Sonic and Tails with them? I mean, why else would he base the two off the genuine articles? Apparently, the people of Central City forgot that many issues earlier, Surge was causing mayhem with the Dynamo Cage. It definitely shows the gullibility of the general populace. Anyway, Surge receiving a genuinely positive praise is something of a welcome surprise for her. For most of their existence as their current selves, Surge and Kit were nothing more than a means to an end. Tools to be used for a mad doctor, and later a business mogul, and arguably, they've never gotten proper praise. Or at the very least, they got false positive praise. This can go along with how Amy said Surge and Kit can leave the Restoration at any time. They're not bound to it, they're free to do what they want, and she said it in a positive manner. This shows how mentally damaged Surge and Kit are if actual, genuine positive vibes catch them off guard. Here's where I have to double down on the future solicitation spoilers because, for the new one that just came out, there's a blurb of Surge pulling off her own plans. It could be related to what's happening here, or at least inspired by it. It could be due to how she hates working for Clutch, or perhaps the two elements could be linked somehow. We'll have to wait and see. For those worried that Surge and Kit will be turning a new leaf, from what I've heard, they will remain villains unless the plans change. which from time to time do happen. For now, they're going to bask in the heroic glory. Someone who's not happy about this is a certain Green Windmaster. He was the one who contended with the Phantom Rider for most of the race, so he thought he was putting on an entertaining show for the people. But nope, it was the Sonic and Tails imposters that received the praise he craves. Based on future solicitations, seems Jet and the Phantom Rider will clash again. Probably in an attempt to get that glory and praise he rightfully deserves. At least in his mind. Without Team Sonic in the race, Jet's just easily scoring victories. There's no challenge in that. The conflict with the security team. There's one element that should not be overlooked. Lanolin's actions. Recall that she used her whip spin to subdue the Phantom Rider on the glass tube, and then the whole thing collapsed moments later thanks to the extra weight. If you notice the panel where the collapse started, she realized too late that she caused enough damage that the structure was destabilized. This is a perfect representation of what her character is at right now. She wants to resolve the situation as quickly as possible, with little regards to her surroundings and how it affects other people. This incident could be an eye-opener for Lanolin, that she could be taking things a bit too far. File this moment for later in case anything comes out of it. One more moment I want to talk about before we get into the B-plot is Jules' behavior. She seemed cordial enough when talking to Duo, but then got frustrated after he left. I hope it's because she has a feeling that she's being roadblocked, that maybe the whole partnership with Clean Sweep Inc. might not have been a good idea. At the very least, this shows that Jewel isn't entirely a pushover. Another thing to file away for later. Also, there's a high chance that Mimic was lying about trying to search for Team Sonic. He and Clutch do want to make sure the two parties are separated. Alright, the investigation plot. It seems fairly routine. Sneak around, looking for clues, and then discovering something shocking. What caught my eye was Amy's line about being here a lot during the metal virus incident, and thus knowing where to find the shuttle's machine shop. Okay, as far as we know, this arc formally debuts the Restoration Shuttle. Now it's possible that it was around during the metal virus saga off screen, probably in an unfinished state. At the time, there were more important things to worry about like robot zombies. I can buy it being a place that contains a machine shop, given that the main headquarters was not in pristine shape even before the Zombots wrecked the place. And it makes sense Amy would be familiar with the shuttle, given that she was once the Restoration leader. I can imagine after Jewel took over and turned the place into the mini-mall operation it is now, the shuttle would be on the to-do list, and when Clean Sweep Inc. entered the picture, they added the finishing touches in time for the Clean Sweepstakes. Why else would there be Clean Sweep Inc. goons running around? Some of those goons also mentioned securing the place like Prison Island, along with its fate. 1. It's yet another tease of a human location. Come on, Sega. I'm getting tired of waiting for humans, other than Eggman, to actually appear in the comic. And 2. I hope this isn't foreshadowing the Restoration Shuttle's fate. There are actual innocent people on board as well. The scene in the machine shop had some suspense, a little bit of horror, especially with Amy's encounter with Belle's hand. It kind of reminds me of the facehugger from Alien. But then it quickly switches over to comedy before it becomes suspenseful again. And it's all thanks to Evan's writing and Aaron Hammerstrom's art. Poor Belle, shoved into a locker like a nerd. I mean, the Clean Sweep goons look like jocks after all. At the very least, she wasn't scrapped, and she was smart enough to detach her hand in case some friendly faces happened to stumble in. At least that's what I hoped happened. The reason Belle got imprisoned in the first place? She either found out about the Extreme Gear sabotage, and or Clutch's involvement in all this. She was present at Clutch's Batnik stash when the possum revealed that he was playing possum, and tried to have everyone killed. And now with him on the verge of taking over the Restoration, he doesn't need someone that could possibly expose him jeopardizing things. Then again, he did not take into account Tails and Amy actually investigating his operations, and thus stumbling upon Belle. Belle's presence in the story was mentioned thanks to the aforementioned solicitations, and it makes sense because her tinkering skills could be valuable during events involving extreme gear, at least those not run by corrupt businessmen. Team Sonic's plan seems to be working so far. However, things are about to get complicated for them. You'll see what I mean when we get to issue 71. Another amusing bit about the machine shop scene. Amy warns Tails about getting gum in his hair while dumpster diving, and when he emerged, he did. I almost wish the gum stayed for the rest of the story.